What up, my fam? It's your boy Pete. Got my boy Chuck's Birds of a Feather. You already know. Like, subscribe, share, follow. Don't know what that language was, but you know what it is. Giddy up. Let's go. 10-9.
That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored. They did it.
Left.
What the hell was that? Oh, yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
What's going on, my A2D fam? It's Birds of a Feather coming at you. We are back after a week off. It's your boy Chucks and your boy Pete. Sorry for cutting you off there. I didn't know you were going to come with 10-9-8.
Nah, I'm just hyped, man. I'm happy that it's been 2 weeks since I've been on. For different reasons. It was touch and go for today. It was touch and go, man. The stomach was not agreeing with me earlier. I'm trying to get through the next 60 minutes, man.
We'll see. I think we'll be in good shape. But guys, thank you for joining us. Of course, we are brought to you by every week by Specialized Physical Therapy LLC. You find them in Burlington, Cherry Hill, and Princeton. Go to their website, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. And of course, we are also brought to you by the Counseling Center at Sunrise Detox. Since many of us, we deal with, health issues, addiction issues. If you need therapy or detox, please call them at 856-651-8117. Tell them Tom from A2D sent you. We are live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. We are on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Twist, everything along, around the internet, everywhere online. You can find us. And we're here to talk some more football. I know it's the off season, the true off season. We don't got, free agency or draft to talk about. It's now the summer days where there's hardly any news football-wise to cover. But as we do every single year, us at Birds of a Feather, we got you covered. We are going to be talking about some fun stuff, creative stuff, and we're going to kick it off with building the perfect NFL players. We're going to be building the perfect QB, perfect running back, perfect wide receiver. And then over the next few weeks, we will get into our annual position rankings. We will, with Jeff here to join us next week again, we will talk about those. It's an every year annual Birds of a Feather thing that we do.
Yes.
And every year, it's always fun. We always get a lot of talking points, a lot of debate about who we have ranked going into this season at each position. So those are going to be fun. And we've got some other very interesting topics over the next month or two that we're going to come at you with. So definitely tune in. Even though there's no football right now to talk about, no big news, we're still always talking football here. Always got you covered. So, if you want to get your football fix in, tune into us. So our poll question today with that topic of building the perfect NFL player, Patrick Mahomes is the closest thing to a prototype QB in the NFL today. And when we say prototype, we're talking about like your ideal, perfect type of QB. Like when you're creating a player in Madden, is he the closest thing that you're going to get to a creative player type of guy? So agree to disagree to that. We'll talk about running backs and wide receivers. If we have time, afterwards, we're going to get into some Eagles news. We're going to get into some Chris Sims top 40 QBs, because that's always a divisive topic. And he left out a certain someone, and I know we want to at least touch on that today. Then, of course, if we have time, at the end of the show, we will talk about some Sixers, the only Philly team in the playoffs right now, since there's no hockey going. No Flyers hockey going on. We've got the Sixers who are doing pretty well so far, so we will touch on their series with the Hawks. But without further ado, let's get to the poll question. Patrick Mahomes, is he the closest thing to prototype QB in the NFL today? Pete, what do you think?
Real quick, before we jump into the poll, it's kind of a sidebar. As we talk about, the whole purpose of this show is to build or kind of script your perfect QB, the prototypical players. Listen, man, right now, this whole platform, this digital media platform that A2D is on, that we have provided to you guys, we want to build the perfect fan. So, I know you can kind of see it there in the sidebar, the little blurb that's going on right now. A2D has introduced $9.99 A2D memberships. It's kind of like a Patreon thing, I guess you can call it. Get your shout outs on, get weekly picks from the Money Pop podcast, and other perks that to be determined, to be announced. But there's big things going on. We want you to be a part of it. We always said this is the voice of the people. This is the platform. That's why we're here. So with that being said, I wish if Mahomes was faster. That's the only thing with his speed. That's the only thing why I'm not an unequivocal agree to this. Because when you think I'm looking at this from coach's eyes, there is a reason why Mitchell Trubisky went before Patrick Mahomes in coach's eyes. When we talk about prototypical quarterbacks and the perfect player, there's a reason why Patrick Mahomes was drafted so late. Why he was towards the bottom half, but kind of towards the tail end of the top 10. For me, it's an unequivocal yes. I agree. I mean, if we're looking at it from that perspective, the only thing I would say, the only people that came close, I would say probably was Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. That's it. Those two, as far as the prototype quarterback for today's game, when you look at the running aspect of it, those two get close. Obviously, Lamar Jackson not with the arm and the touch, but Josh Allen he's not that far away. He's really not. He's not that far. Obviously Mahomes is Mahomes. We've seen Mahomes do things, but if you took Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and put them in the same draft without even throwing an NFL pass, and you had NFL brass and scouts looking to see who would be the better prospect. That's tough not to go with Josh Allen. But from my eyes, from what I see, yes, it's Patrick Mahomes. I agree to the poll.
I was really wondering where you're going to go with that, because I'm like, really, you're not going to go with Patrick Mahomes? I'm going to agree, and it's not to say that Patrick Mahomes is perfect, because he's not your perfect. He's not a perfect QB in today's NFL. No one is. It's more so like, who else are you going to go? Josh Allen argument is a very good argument. I think he's very close to Patrick Mahomes in terms of what you ideally want in a QB. So that's another good choice to make an argument for, because Josh Allen's got all the physical tools. And, we'll talk about, when we get into building the perfect QB, if his traits land on either of our lists. But with Josh Allen, I think what we've seen improvements on, but what we still haven't seen at the Patrick Mahomes level is, one, the consistency, and two, just that field vision, the decision making, that it's not quite up to par. So I think that's where Mahomes has him beat out, but it's very close. And then you're talking about Lamar. Lamar is your he's the next coming of Mike Vick. So he's so exciting. But with Lamar, again, you still have to worry about his pocket passing, like his passing from the pocket. Tom Brady almost has all of that, but his inability to be a mobile QB that you can, you can have make second reaction plays, make plays when the structure design of the play breaks down. He doesn't have that. So it's not to say that Brady doesn't have a lot of things you like. Obviously, the greatest of all time. So obviously he does. But yeah, I agree to the poll. Obviously, I think the closest thing to a prototypical or your ideal type of quarterback in today's league, I think, is Patrick Mahomes, and that's why a lot of people are when we talk about one of the most talented QBs ever to play the game, we talk about him already because he's done things that we haven't seen, and he does it all. There's no glaring weakness to his game, and so it's very, very easy to it's easy to forget that kind of, because for some people, because after the Super Bowl performance, you see some crazy things that people say online, he's Patrick Mahomes is overrated now because he choked in the Super Bowl. Man, Patrick Mahomes was the only reason why that game was even close to being entertaining. Because without him, there's no way the Chiefs even get anywhere offensively, anywhere without Patrick Mahomes. The offensive line was the one that choked. So, yeah, I agree to the poll. It's I don't know if there's any other names you want to throw out there before you get the build. I know you mentioned Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. We talked about Tom Brady. I think that like if you were asked this 5-10 years ago, I think Aaron Rodgers would be the name before.
Oh yeah, I mean
not now.
That's the one he came in as far as, and he'll come up until when we get into the traits and when we build. But that was one who I thought about. I mean, if we go on the opposite end, I'm looking at like either rookies or second year players. I may even say like a Blaine Gabbert, just with his size and his arm and his strength of his arm and being able to move. That's the one thing about Patrick Mahomes where Big Red isn't calling design runs. He's not calling sprint options or bootlegs with Mahomes or design run plays for a QB. Where like with Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and maybe even some a little bit with Blaine Gabbert, you're seeing that. Generally, when Mahomes runs, he is running to extend, but it's more of a broken down play. It almost turns into backyard football at that point. Which is what he's so good at. But when you look and said the arm angles and things of that nature, it's almost like. It's tough. I can see Brian Daly's point when we talk about possibly disagreeing. You know what I mean? And some of the comments I can see as well after the Super Bowl. I wouldn't say he's overrated, and I agree with you. He was the reason why the Chiefs were there was for the fact of because of him mostly. I mean, they had no starting tackles. They were down both right and left tackle. Me personally, this is probably the first time I said this. I wish Cleveland would have got past them in the divisional round. I think if Cleveland gets past them, I think Cleveland and Tampa would have been a more entertaining Super Bowl than what we saw with the Kansas City and Tampa Bay because of the nature that the team of Kansas City was in at that time. If that makes sense, because
of their O-line, and they really didn't.
Right. It just wasn't. Tampa Bay was rolling. I mean, hell, if it wasn't for Aaron Rodgers having a bonehead play and for whatever reason not just running it in, just tucking the ball and running, Tampa Bay may not have even made it to the Super Bowl. It may have been Green Bay. You know what I mean? So all these hypotheticals, but I mean, when you look at a prototypical QB, I mean, if you take age out of it, Aaron Rodgers may be close. Aaron Rodgers circa 2010 through like 2013, I haven't seen anybody play the position better.
Yeah.
Agreed. I have not seen anybody play the QB position player better in that stretch of time for a consistent time period. Patrick Mahomes is getting there, but I mean it's one of those things to where I can see why the detractors would disagree with this poll. And I want to see maybe we revisit this and maybe somehow we can put out on the A2D radio channel, maybe on Instagram or even on somehow we can get it out on Twitter. Maybe we actually put a poll up. Because I think this poll would get more traction. I think this isn't something that me and you can sit here and do this as we're here with this hour. But I think more of our fam out there, if we put it up maybe on the Facebook on the ATD Real Sports Talk page, maybe then we can really, because I think this is a good topic, and it's non-Philly, but it's national related. You know, it's league related. So
I think to Daly's point, I think. What I would say to that, like Tom Brady, again, I'll reiterate if people don't hear me, he's the greatest of all time, but that doesn't mean like when you talk about prototypical, it's like when you want everything, you want your QB to have everything. And even though Tom Brady is the greatest at one aspect of the game from the pocket, he's not able to create plays. And you talk to a lot of people, coaches, scouts. I mean, not all of them agree, obviously, but in today's game with how defenses are and how pass rushers are just so much more talented than the offensive line. When you talk, when you compare, mano a mano, you need a quarterback who can create plays with their legs, and Tom Brady doesn't do that. And it's not to say that Tom Brady isn't the greatest. It's just saying when you talk about it, like when you are creating a player in Madden, do you prefer to have a quarterback who can't run at all? Well, no. Like if you're playing a video game, you ideally want a quarterback who can do it all, and that's the thing. Like with Mahomes, you have someone who can do it all. With Josh Allen getting up there, you have someone who can do it all. So those will probably be my top two answers. And if you've known me over the past few years, I've been very critical of Josh Allen.
Yes, you have.
I've been very critical of Josh Allen. But it was all because it was never due to his talent or physical ability. It was all in here. It was all like your decision making is crap. You got to be better, and his accuracy was crap. You got to be better. And working with that I forget the QB,
the guy that Brady goes to.
Yeah. He worked with him. He worked with him in the offseason. Plus, the improved offensive play calling. Josh Allen really took that next step, and I love that because I was. It's not that I had a personal vendetta against Josh Allen or any player. People seem to be very critical of players, and they think, "Oh, you hate him." No, I don't hate him. I'm calling it as it is. I love to see great players with great talent reach that potential. And with Allen, he had so many tools, but he still wasn't able to put it together until this past season. So I love being able to see him take that next step and being able to see him be who everyone wanted him to be. I felt like a lot of fans were prematurely anointing him and saying, "Oh, like he's already that person," when he really wasn't, because they were so enamored with the tools. But this past season, he put it together, and it's great to see. I love it, and so now I'm a Josh Allen believer because I think that he has reached that plateau. He's a lot better with the decision making, and it's great to see. It's great for the league when a talent like him figures it all out.
And if you look at, this came to my mind. If you look at Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen's trajectories, they're headed in two different directions. I mean, I wouldn't say Lamar Jackson has regressed; he just hasn't progressed.
Yes.
He hasn't taken that next step forward where we've seen Josh Allen take steps forward. He's gotten better every year he's been in the league. And that's kind of the trend you want to see. So, I mean, for me right now, I would have to say Josh Allen is a better overall quarterback right now than Lamar Jackson. In my opinion.
100% agree. 100% agree.
Yeah.
And with Lamar, it's a lot of it is consistency. Consistency, like he has those games where he's throwing it left and right, letting it up, throwing dimes, but it's not a consistent game-to-game basis. Yeah. And so you can, as a defense, you can kind of game plan around it and say, hey, if we contain or slow down Lamar even a little bit to where he can't beat us with his legs all the time, we have a great chance to win the game. Look at when the Ravens played the Eagles.
Yeah.
We had
the busted play where he ran for the touchdown that changed the whole game, and that's what he can do. But Josh Allen can also do that as well.
Yes, exactly. So as a passer, as an all around talent QB right now, I absolutely agree. Josh Allen I would have higher than Lamar. And what's funny though is that in that class, I remember saying that I think Lamar was my QB 3 or 4, and Josh Allen was my QB 5 because I felt like Josh Allen was a lot of a project.
Right.
But I always had stated in my evaluations that I think these two have the highest ceiling out of any QB in that class. And we're kind of seeing it now. What was it? It's now 3 years out, 4 years out, that they're starting to separate themselves from Baker, obviously, from Rosen, obviously, and then from Sam Darnold. We'll see what Darnold can do in Carolina now, but yeah, they're starting to really separate themselves and hit their stride. So, all right.
Don says, "What about Deshaun?" I mean, he's up there. I mean, he's
up there. I can't believe it. Yeah, he is up there. Yes, I would.
He made a lot out of a little. Yeah, he made a lot out of a little this last year in Houston. Yeah. But I mean, when you talk about the prototypical QB, if we're just you can't just be on the field and off the field. And I understand we don't know the truth to the situation in his hand. It's been very, very quiet on his front and what the Houston Texans are doing. But you still just want your QB to make better decisions off the field and put themselves in better situations. I mean, I'll leave it at that. I think that's the cleanest way I can say it.
Yes, yeah.
Not to put themselves in this position in the first place.
Yeah, looking at on the field, just on the football field, yeah, he's up there, and it's my bad for not thinking of him.
Oh, no, that's fine.
He's definitely up there too. Definitely up there. All right, so I know me and you, we didn't iron out specific traits that we wanted to. So, but I felt like it was better to do it this way. Okay. Better to be okay, I'm not gonna say field vision, arm strength, for quarterback. and then we have to fill it in. I want to see what traits you look for in a QB and how you want to mold it. So I thought it would be better doing that way. And for the viewers or listeners who are tuning in right now or listening on Apple Podcasts, the way we're going to do this is we're going to pick players from today's current NFL, their traits to build our perfect QB, our perfect running back, our perfect wide receiver. I let Pete know that we can pick a player for two different traits, but it can only be one player. So you can't once you pick a player twice, that's it. You can't pick another player twice that overlap traits. So that way it's not overkill with some of these players. But let's do QB first since we were already talking about Patrick Mahomes. I'll let you go first.
Mine is pretty simple. I could break it down to three people. Rodgers' arm, Brady's vision and decision making.
Okay.
Lamar's speed. I'm done. At that point, I'm good.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. With QB, it's funny because
it's going to be easy.
With running back and wide receiver, there's so many different traits. But with QB, it's not that obviously the most important position on the field.
Right.
But there's not a lot of traits you can talk about because it's pretty clear cut. So for me, I went with mine doesn't vary too much far from yours. So mental processing and field vision. So it's decision making, how they see the field. I went with Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
This is his career. And you'll see why. I wanted to go with Brady here. That was my first thought, but I have Rodgers here for a reason. You'll see later on. But so mental processing and field vision, I went Aaron Rodgers. For arm talent, which encompasses arm strength and accuracy, I put Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
Now, if I'm going to split them up between accuracy and arm strength. Accuracy, I'd go Mahomes. Arm strength, I'd go Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen has a slightly stronger, more powerful arm than Mahomes, but I feel like Mahomes is more accurate and can that arm talent, his ability to throw from different angles is unmatched. So arm talent overall, Mahomes. But if I break it down between accuracy and arm strength, it's Mahomes and Allen respectively. Playmaking ability, which I define as a quarterback's ability to make plays outside of structure. We call it second reaction plays. So that does include his legs, his running ability. That's part of it, but not just that. Ability outside the pocket to still see the field. Look downfield while the play is broken down and still be able to either throw or run. I put Russell Wilson. So I think Russell Wilson, even though he gets himself in trouble himself, a lot of it is his own fault, when he is outside of structure and creating on his own, I feel like there's hardly anyone else that's better. Maybe Mahomes is better or just as good, but I put Russell Wilson in there. And then my last two traits, being clutch and leadership, that's where I did a twofer, and I went Tom Brady for both. There's no other clutch QB in the league, and I feel like the best leader at the QB position we've ever seen is Tom Brady. So that's how I get it. So mental processing, field vision, Aaron Rodgers, arm talent, Patrick Mahomes, playmaking ability, Russell Wilson, clutchness and leadership of Tom Brady.
I would probably say even Brady or Big Ben as far as if I wanted to add a durability wise. But I actually think Brady low key may be better, more durable than the Big Ben, to be honest with you. I mean, he's just. Do the refs help? Yeah, sometimes the refs help, but at the same time, he takes hits. He takes hits. So, and he's pretty often not injured. 1 year, really, he doesn't miss games. Yeah. He doesn't miss games at all. So
exactly. Kevin says Brady's IQ, pocket awareness, Allen's arms and legs, Big Ben's ability to take a hit. One thing he says, he mentioned pocket awareness. One thing I didn't include in there, and because I can't use Brady a third time, is that pocket awareness. And I mentioned how Wilson and Watson does this a lot too. Wilson gets himself in trouble because of that O line. Like he, we talked about. Yeah, he abandons the pockets prematurely, scrambles prematurely. That's an ability and skill that Brady does so well that's underrated sometimes.
Yeah.
Brady can't run or he can't extend plays outside the pocket like that, but he really does maximize his ability to make the most out of it. You know what I mean? Like he's going to stick with that play design, and he's able to because when there's pressure around him, he's a master at navigating the pocket and making sure he extends as much time as he can. So I think that's very underrated, and it's something that guys like Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Carson Wentz, they don't know. Baker Mayfield, especially. Managing and having that pocket awareness is so crucial. They don't know how to do that. Keep their eyes downfield. Yeah. So Lamar too. Lamar doesn't have that ability of pocket awareness either. Anything else for QB or before we move on to running back?
Nah. QB. I'm QB.
Yeah, let's see. What Don says playmaking. I might go Baker. Crazy. I personally want to go Baker for playmaking. No. There are a lot of people like obviously Lamar. When Wentz's playmaking ability is pretty special too.
Yeah.
Wentz has made some really great plays outside of structure we've seen throughout his highlights. So Wentz is another one with good playmaking ability. We talked about Watson. I'm trying to think off the top of my head who else is there. Who's really good outside of structure. Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, yeah. The little mouse on the field just running around. Kyler Murray is good. Let's see. Don did say he forgot Russell Wilson. Jesse Davis says Deshaun Watson has been good, but he has blown big playoff leads. Was there one besides the Chiefs one? What were all the playoff leads he gave up?
I think the Chiefs one in the division round is mainly the one that sticks out. But I mean, he's also blown leads in regular season games as well, not just.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Don says
he always plays in a shootout.
Yeah. If I want a quarterback to chip over his own feet, give me Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then he also says, good point, arm strength underrated Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford, man.
Yes.
I know me and you we feel like Matt Stafford is underrated. Yeah.
There's no feel. He is underrated.
Yeah.
He is underrated.
He gets a lot of – I feel like a lot of people who are like play fantasy feel like he's overrated because he's a numbers guy, but like he's hardly had stuff to work with.
There's a reason why when the trade happened, when he went to the Rams, they almost instantly became a Super Bowl team. And that was nationally. That's national circles and actual inside circles. There's a reason why.
Yeah.
The talent is there, and he just now that you will see. You will see he will be appreciated.
Yeah, I agree. Let's go to Brigman says Mahomes is definitely the prototype. Yeah, I agree. All right, so running back. You know I'm gonna have fun with this.
I'm gonna you go first on this one because I'm kind of I'm still.
So, half of these traits I like knew off the top of my head. I'm like, of course this. The other half I'm like, I really had to think because I had to be smart about how I'm breaking these down, right? Like how I'm splitting these up. But I really like how my finished product was. So, I started off with the build, right? Mm-hmm. So your build for a running back is Saquon Barkley. I don't think like 6 foot 240, but like it's all rocked up muscle. Like he's the build. Saquon. I was tempted with Derrick Henry, but with Derrick Henry, for me, this is just for me. I don't know anyone else, but like I also don't want my running backs to be too tall because then they get into the habit of running upright and being too much of a bigger target for big hits. You know what I mean? So I prefer my running backs to to be a little smaller, shorter, not too short. I'm not talking about like 5'6", but anywhere between like 5'10" to 6 foot, I think is ideal because they're able to still bend and get low usually. So my build is Saquon Barkley. Vision is Nick Chubb. I think that was one of the easy ones. Like,
are we taking players in their current state, or like if a player's in the league now, can you use a trait when they were at their peak?
I did it how they are now.
Okay.
But if you want to do it when they were at their peak, that's fine. Like I just did it based on who they are now. So Vision Nick Chubb. I think Nick Chubb's the best. Just when it comes to running, Nick Chubb's the best running back in the league. His vision is elite. He's so good. So good. Elusiveness, and this is where I double dipped. Elusiveness is Saquon Barkley. Saquon's elusiveness, like I've said it before, I think Saquon, in terms of is the closest thing we've gotten in terms of that elusiveness, agility, quickness as we've gotten to Barry Sanders. Like I know McCoy is up there too, but that McCoy right now, and this is why I'm saying like I'm going off of right now. If this was 10 years ago, I'd put McCoy, but right now it's Saquon. So elusiveness, I went Saquon. Burst and acceleration, I went Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook's burst, just his ability to get the top speed. That's the big reason why he was, drafted early in the draft, and it's just to me that burst is special. Top speed, I think this was easy. Raheem Mostert, there's no running back who runs a bigger,
fast.
A faster top end speed than Mostert. That was easy. Contact balance, this is where I also was tempted to double dip with Nick Chubb because his contact balance is elite. But I think the best contact balance out of any runner right now is Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara, like his balance is crazy.
Yeah, to be able to stay on point, I get that.
Yeah, through contact and stay on your feet, it's absolutely insane. Power and strength was easy. Obviously, this is Derrick Henry. It's just I don't think there's anyone more powerful and more strong than Derrick Henry. I think that's easy. Receiving was easy. Christian McCaffrey. And then blocking, it was a toss-up, but I went with Mark Ingram. I think Mark Ingram, the veteran Mark Ingram, I think is the best pass blocking running back. I also was tempted to go Jamal Williams, but I went with Mark Ingram. So to recap, the build is Saquon, the vision is Nick Chubb, elusiveness of Saquon, burst and acceleration of Dalvin Cook, top speed of Raheem Mostert, contact balance of Alvin Kamara, power and strength of Derrick Henry, receiving ability of Christian McCaffrey, and the blocking ability of Mark Ingram.
Okay. So for me, build, I'm going to go Zeke as far as build.
He's got a good build. Yeah.
Yeah. Vision and seeing things. This is where I asked you. I'm going to go Le'Veon Bell at his peak.
Yeah. Yeah. See, if this was years ago, I would have gone with you. Yes. I agree.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Le'Veon at his peak. Burst and acceleration, we're gonna match there. We're gonna talk about. I'm gonna go with Dalvin Cook. Top end speed, I would also go Raheem Mostert. Blocking, I'm gonna double dip. I'm gonna go Zeke here. I think Zeke is a very good blocker.
Yes, absolutely.
And when it comes to, after contact, I'm gonna go Derrick Henry there through contact. Okay. As far as receiving, it's hard not to go with Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. At that point, it's just his route running ability, his hands. Yeah, I mean, and his strength against. I mean, when I talk about power through contact, I think strength is understood in that point. So that's, I mean, for me, that's Derrick Henry as well. Overall, like the strength is just have that power. But I think so. We definitely have a lot of similarities when we look at the running back. It's just, I think when I said division, I can always remember Le'Veon being so patient and waiting for the hole to develop, and then boom, hit the hole. Now he never had that true top end speed like a Mostert or a Dalvin Cook, but he was quick enough, you know.
Yeah,
and then, but that layoff definitely hurt him.
It did, and also that with his vision, he had that synchronicity with his O-line because he knew his
very good choice of word there. Very good choice of word. Synchronicity.
He had that. He worked in unison with his O-line so well
Mm-hmm.
He knew his own line. He knew how they blocked. He knew his strengths. And so being able to be that patient with his own line was a big factor. And then when he held down, went to a different team, you don't have that kind of chemistry with the same own line. And
right.
so it isn't as effective. So, with Bell, that's the big, also another reason why he kind of fell off, because a big part of it is his vision. And when you don't have the same old line, it's not as great. Bell in his prime too was a great receiver. It's not worth to forget that.
I thought about that. I thought about that too. As far as receiver, I mean, like Bell at his prime, you knew where the ball was going, and you still couldn't stop it.
Yes, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in hindsight, you were really the key to the offense when AB was there and Bell was there. Was Bell? It wasn't AB. AB didn't make Bell's job easier.
Yeah,
Bell made AB's job easier.
I agree. Like I always said that when it came to the offense, Le'Veon Bell was that key cog because he did everything. Yeah. So, and there was a point several years where I had Antonio Brown as my top receiver in the league. I had Le'Veon Bell as my top running back. Yeah. And that's another big reason
and they
why
still didn't win a chip.
They didn't win anything. And that's another big reason
how do you not?
I get so mad with Mike Tomlin because they choked. Yes. How do you have that trio of Bell, Antonio, and Big Ben, and you don't even get to the Super Bowl? It's like that's choking. That is choking. They choked several times. That having the top player at those two positions and you're not able to get anywhere with it. That's another topic. Kevin says Mostert's speed, Henry size and stiff arms, Barkley's cuts and elusiveness, CMC's catching, backfield route running. That's hard to argue. There's
a lot of good ones in the chat.
Yeah. Jesse Davies says Nick Chubb and Mostert's speed, McCaffrey's hands. That's a perfect back. Not gonna argue. Nick Chubb is good. Don says no Aaron Jones love. It's not that I don't love Aaron Jones. It's in this exercise, there's nothing about Aaron Jones that there's no traits of his that we would take over someone else.
Over somebody else's, yeah.
We don't mean to. I don't mean to slight Aaron Jones because I love Aaron Jones. That's just how it is. Like he doesn't have a better trait than he doesn't have a single better trait than anyone else that we'd go for. So that's how the exercise played out. Jesse says Alvin Kamara has good balance too.
Yes.
Don says breakout running back Antonio Gibson. Amen. Yeah. Love Antonio Gibson. He may be on Washington, but Antonio Gibson is a stud. He is so good.
Memphis running backs. We got one. We got one finally.
Yes. Memphis. Look out. Hey, Giants fans. Next year in the draft, look out for who the Memphis running back is coming out. Because Dallas got a Memphis running back. Washington's got a Memphis running back. We got a Memphis running back. Now New York is they're next to get a Memphis running back.
Yes.
All right. So wide receiver. Fam, if you're still tuning in, you want to give your thoughts on running back, quarterback, definitely still, comment. We'll read them off. But let's top it off with wide receiver.
Okay.
All right. I'll have you go first. Yeah, just go because I was going to say something, but yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean size Julio. I think it's like size. I want to say size and speed. I mean Julio in his prime, coming out 4'3", that size, 220. Footwork, I'm gonna go with AB. I still to this day, I think AB's footwork will be able to get. Well, you know what? Scratch that. I'm gonna give me Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen's feet, and Keenan Allen's feet with the route running. Hands. Dare I say go with Keenan Allen again? Keenan Allen don't drop shit.
He has good hands. I don't know if I'd put him tops, but if you want to.
Top hands. I'll probably have to say Michael Thomas then.
Okay. Good.
Just strong at the catch point. So we got Julio for size and speed, Keenan Allen for footwork and route running, Michael Thomas for hands, and the occasion for just that they have to block downfield. Who would I go with there for blocking downfield?
JJ Arcega-Whiteside.
No. Ran through one block. You remember one block. Damn, that's a tough one. I'm going to have to come back to that. Blocking downfield.
That's a tough. I didn't include that trait, but now you got me thinking.
Exactly. That's not. It's not an easy one to come up with.
It's not. It's definitely not. That's a tough one. There are a few good blocking wide receivers that come to mind. I try to pick one. Yeah. All right. So recap yours again. So it was size and speed was Julio.
So size, speed was Julio. Footwork and route running, Keenan Allen. Hands, Michael Thomas.
Okay. Cool. So for me, I've got my traits were a little bit were different from yours, but I started off with the release. So the release off the line of scrimmage, I went Devontae Adams. I think Devontae Adams has the cleanest release out of anyone in the league. Route running overall from all levels of the field, Stephon Diggs.
Okay.
I've been a Stephon Diggs stan for years, ever since his rookie year. And I'm glad he's getting recognition. I remember a lot of people were like, when he was in Minnesota, like, oh no, Adam Thielen is definitely a lot better than Stephon Diggs. No, stop it. Just because you play fantasy and Thielen got all the numbers doesn't mean Stephon Diggs wasn't. To me, they were both top 10 wide receivers. Best wide receiver doing in the league for years. So I'm glad Diggs is getting his love. I love him in Buffalo. So route running overall is Stephon Diggs. Play speed, this was easy. We can say it 1, 2, 3, Tyreek Hill. It's really easy. Play strength obviously is going to be DK Metcalf. No one. I don't think there's anyone stronger at the wide receiver position who plays through contact as well as DK Metcalf. And all you have to do for proof is just look at him. Just look at him and you'll see. Ball tracking, I included this skill, and it's Deshaun Jackson. I still think Deshaun Jackson is the king in ball tracking.
When it comes to tracking the ball in the air, GOAT.
He's unbelievable. I don't know how he tracks it so well. He just does. Even
though he catches it with his body too. He's not a hands catcher. He's a body catcher. He pins it against his body, but he finds a way to do it every time.
Yeah, he does. So ball tracking Deshaun. Ball skills, I'm going to put DeAndre Hopkins. But to me, I haven't seen ever since DeAndre Hopkins came into the league. I was like, this guy's special, man. His ball skills are insane. Body control is OBJ, and that's an underrated skill. When I was at the scouting academy, they talked about how body control doesn't get talked a lot about because your ability to adjust to off-target throws, to keep your feet in bounds on sideline catches, stuff like that. That's so important to today's game. So OBJ gets the nod there. And then yards after catch ability, that's where I double dipped with Tyreek Hill. Okay. So again, release is Devontae Adams, route running is Stephon Diggs, play speed of Tyreek Hill, play strength of DK Metcalf, ball tracking of Deshaun Jackson, ball skills of DeAndre Hopkins, body control of OBJ, and yards after catch ability of Tyreek Hill. Okay. I guess if I were to put size, I'd put Julio. I overlooked size for a receiver.
You kind of got it there with DK, but it's just Julio's he's a different cat. He's just to have him and Megatron in the league at the same time. We were truly
blessed.
Truly blessed to have them in the league at the same time.
I still think Calvin Johnson is arguably the top 3 most talented.
If he continued to play, he may have gone down as the best wide receiver of all time.
He was insane. Jesse Davis says it here. He says the player trying to create is Calvin Johnson, and it's not. That's pretty true. Exactly. It's absolutely true. I mean, Calvin Johnson was the epitome of creative player made real. He was insane.
What made him want to go to Georgia Tech? Bro, you could have been anywhere. Anywhere. You chose Georgia, you chose Atlanta, you chose Bankhead. What are you doing out here?
That's crazy.
That's
crazy. I was so happy to see him get into the Hall of Fame. And I know a lot of people are like, why is he getting the Hall of Fame? Did you not watch him? Look at his numbers. His numbers are obviously they're still good enough. But did you not watch him? Calvin Johnson was unreal.
You knew it was going there. You could put 3 people on him. It did not matter.
It didn't matter. That Cowboys game, I still remember that Cowboys game where he just was not. He couldn't be stopped. No one could stop him. That's exactly what you said. They put 3 defenders on him, and he was still catching the ball.
Don't matter.
Unbelievable. Like in terms of just talent in my lifetime, it's Randy Moss and Calvin Johnson, the most talented wide receivers I've ever seen. Yeah. It's insane. They're unstoppable.
Yeah.
So Kevin Godwin says Hill's speed, Michael Thomas's route running, Hopkins' hands, Diggs' jump ball ability, and DK's size. See, I like his list, but I would flip Michael Thomas and Diggs. I would put Diggs' route running and Michael Thomas's jump ball ability.
Like catch point?
Yeah, catch point. Like Michael Thomas's ability at the catch point is elite. It's so good. It's so good. And you see Mike Evans. He talked about Mike Evans as a good blocker. Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good blocker there. I think who else? I know DK is a good blocker. Every wide receiver in San Fran is a good blocker. If they're not a good blocker, they're not playing. So let's put it that way too. So every wide receiver in San Fran is also a good blocker. Don speed, Tyreek Hill not even close. Bright Ever says, "I'm watching you live from Ghana." Hey, Bright, thank you so much
for joining us. I don't know what time it is over there, but thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And then Don says underrated wide receivers, Allen Robinson. Absolutely. I think even myself, I was underrating him for a long time. And I was like 2 years ago, I was like, this guy's special. He's good. He's really good. And it just sucks he's never had a QB
to think about it, if he doesn't come first, I don't think a guy like Chris Godwin has the looks that he has. Mm-hmm. I think when Tampa Bay, when Chris Godwin was on the board, and before they made that pick, they're like, all right, you see Allen Robinson-esque in Chris Godwin, in his game.
Yeah.
Just be able to get open, catch the ball at various different angles, very versatile to be able to do a lot of different things, tough through the catch point. I mean, that's Allen Robinson all day.
A route runner at Allen Robinson's size is not hard. It's like he's big, but he runs route like one of these top route running guys, and it's crazy. It's really special. So guys, thank you for chiming in with your list.
Yep.
We appreciate it. If you still want to throw in, suggestions on how you would build your perfect QB or running back or wide receiver, keep it going. We'll still touch on that. But let's move on real quick, just for like 2 minutes. Let's give your reaction real quick to the Eagles releasing a few guys. I mean, it's non-consequential, but it's the summer. We got to talk about something. But a lot of guys that the biggest name out of the 3, because they released, I forget who it was, the first guy, but they also released the quarterback, Jamie Newman, who people thought he was going to be like the practice squad guy. Yeah. And then they cut with an injury designation, Trevon Grimes, which people thought he would compete. Now, they cut him with an injury designation. He cleared waivers, and so he's on the injured reserve for the Eagles. So he doesn't count against the roster, but he's on the injured reserve. Okay. So for Grimes, that's a lot of people were expecting him to compete. But just your thoughts. Do you think, especially for wide receiver, do you think this helps pave the way for someone like J-Jaw to give him an even better chance to make the team?
Someone like J-Jaw, Quez Watkins, Hightower, somebody of that ilk that's behind, I think, Rager, Smith, Fulgham, and Ward. I think those are your top 4.
Yes.
So you're looking for that. You're looking for that 5th. So it helps out whoever they're going to choose in that 5th, and maybe that 6th spot. They decide to carry 6. The Newman cut, I was a little surprised by this because of the lack of bodies. Now you only have 2 bodies, and your training camp is 6 weeks away, a little over 6 weeks, or maybe a little less than 6 weeks away. So towards the end of July. So now you just have Flacco, who you don't know what you're going to get with the injuries now, and that's a lot to put on Jalen Hurts' plate. So you need somebody that's going to take these camp snaps. Maybe they bring him back. I haven't heard if he was cleared, he's claimed off of waivers or not, but it's not hard to find a QB on. But that one just kind of shocked me a little bit. I like the decisiveness though of the coaching staff to being able to move on from players and to make moves such as these. We haven't seen this in the past.
Yeah, we haven't. So I heard, I don't know how true it is, but I did see like some of the reaction, and I was talking to some of the guys at Washington Football Podcast, the one that I was on a guest on a few weeks ago. They were saying they liked Newman as a practice squad guy too, and they were surprised to see him released. And they were saying that a big issue with Newman has been his attitude, so maybe that had something to do with him getting cut. I don't know. I didn't scout Newman, so I don't know anything about him. So I mean, we'll see. I think that with the Grimes thing is kind of surprising, but not really. I think there was a lot of hype about him, and I think it was going a little too far. I think people thought he was going to compete for wide receiver 3. Like, come on, let's stop. But I think there is some things to like about him, and I think it'll be interesting to see how long. Like, I don't know the stipulations of him being on injured reserve right now. I don't know if they can bring him back or if he's just on there for the whole season. We'll see. But I think it's very interesting that I think this does make it a little easier for J-Jaw to make the team, because with them being so similar in games, like play styles, he doesn't have that type of competition now. I mean, he's still got to go out there and compete with guys like Quez and Hightower, but one less guy that could have taken his spot is going to help him. So we'll see how it goes. Chris Sims top 40. You brought this up in our chat.
Yep.
And every year Chris Sims comes out with his top 40 QB countdown. I think personally, Birds of a Feather's positional rankings is a better segment than the Chris Sims QB top 40 QB countdown. I think we do a better job, but that's neither here or there. He's got the mainstream media outlet, but he's starting his top 40 QB countdown. And I remember seeing this the other week when he started it. He came out with the first few, and I was like, oh, Jalen Hurts isn't on there. Maybe he has him higher ranked. And then I see the updated one. He's now up to like 17. To number 17, which is Joe Burrow. And still
he's up to 13 now.
And I'm like, so he's not ranking Jalen Hurts at all. He's not.
Before you continue, let me just give the people the rundown so far. So this is QB Chris Sims quarterback list top 40 from 40 down to 13. So he has Case Keenum, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Kellen Mond, Marcus Mariota, Tyrod Taylor, Tua Tagovailoa, Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater, Jared Goff, Mac Jones, Andy Dalton, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Daniel Jones, Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Big Ben, Jimmy G, Cam Newton, Sam Darnold, Carson Wentz, Joe Burrow. And then he just released a new pod where 16 is Kirk Cousins, 15 Matt Ryan, 14 Derek Carr, 13 Baker Mayfield. That's what we have to date so far.
Okay.
So how Jalen Hurts did not make it over Tyrod Taylor, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't know.
And so the thing with Sims, and I kind of understand where he's coming from when he has this philosophy. He's not someone where he says, like, with rookies, incoming rookies, how a lot of people are like, I'm not going to rank them because they haven't played a game yet. He's not like that. Mm-hmm. He says, even though they're rookies that haven't played a game yet, how I see their skill is still how I see them. So, like, for example, who was the big name quarterback coming out? Justin Herbert. He was high on Herbert, right? So he's not going to not rank Herbert because he believes that Herbert is this talented. He's not going to not rank Herbert in his top 40, but he would gladly choose him, over some of the guys he would put at 40. So I kind of understand that. But, like, this is where I have an issue, okay? This is where I have a big issue. Because I still listen to him every now and then. I don't listen to every episode.
Right.
But I still listen to him every now and then. And he was talking about Jalen Hurts, and because he wasn't too high on Hurts, but then after Hurts' 4 games, he was discussing it, and someone had asked him, like, one of his viewers were asking him, who would you pick now? Who would you be higher on, Jalen Hurts or Tua? And
I remember this episode.
Thank you. Okay, so Sims had a very tough time answering it, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe he said he would give the slight nod to Hurts.
Yes.
He did that, right?
He said that. How does he not make a list? How does he not make a list?
We have Tua at 34 and Hurts nowhere to be found. That's not being consistent, Mr. Sims. That's not being consistent. No. That's where my issue is. So if you're going to say that, like, not too long ago, it was like a couple of months ago, where you say Tua and Hurts, they're close, but you would have Hurts by a little bit. Well, then you're going to do this. That's not consistent. That's not consistent.
And neither one of them has given you anything on the field to sway your opinion.
Yeah.
Like, they haven't played a game. You haven't. I mean, OTAs just started 2 weeks ago, and now they're over with. So what changed between when he made that statement, and I think he just kind of said it based on the if I'm not mistaken, he said Hurts' ability to he didn't factor Hurts' ability to run with the ball. He forgot how fast Hurts was off schedule outside the structure.
Yeah.
So now you fast forward 6-8 weeks later, and you make a list, and you have not only, it's not like you have Tua at 40, you have Tua in there.
Yeah, he does.
He's five, 6 ups, runs up from the bottom. So but Hurts doesn't make it, and like we said, like over Kellen Mond, I kind of get it as well, but because like Chuck said, for those that don't follow Chris Sims, he looks at talent on the overall picture. Doesn't care about the situation that you're in. He doesn't care about if you're playing. He wants other players to play before the starters. You know what I mean? So with that being said, I'm very flabbergasted by his list and the reason behind the choice is not to put Jalen Hurts at least in the top 40. When nothing has changed.
Yes. Yeah.
Nothing has changed. Like, you haven't said he didn't say he watched more film, anything like that. I don't know.
I almost, part of me almost wants to, like, email him on what, how he answers questions.
Yeah.
I almost kind of want to send that question to him because I want to hear his explanation.
Yeah.
But the other part of me is like, I'm not going to waste my time. Like that show, I'm so, like, hit or miss with that show sometimes because I respect Chris Sims, and I know a lot of people don't like him a lot, and I get it. He's very divisive. I respect him a lot, but there are points, and we've had this conversation before. There are things that he does, and some of his takes are just they irk me. They really irk me. And like the thing about his show is, yes, I get it. It's his show, so I respect that, but what I feel is that there's no one to kind of offset him. When he was with Bleacher Report with Adam Lefkoe, they bound each other
so well.
They complement each other. It was the perfect match. Because when Sims would get a little out of whack, Lefkoe would bring him down to earth. You know what I mean? And then when Lefkoe would have a take that's kind of not a smart take, Sims would reel him back in and be like, "Hey, no, this is what the film shows."
They needed each other this year.
yeah, like it's good. They absolutely did. I don't know if you saw the one Lefkoe show. He had Sims back on, and Lefkoe was talking about his love for Jalen Hurts, and Lefkoe was like, Am I being premature here? Am I
yes.
Yeah, then he said, yeah, you are. He was like, no, yeah. But like they offset each other. But now with Sims's show, those hosts, and I get it, they're just hosts, and it's Sims's show. I completely understand that. But there's no one to counteract them. All these hosts do is they agree with Sims all the time, and they boost his take, and they pat him on his back.
they boost it and then they go back to when he was right. And then real quick, if you put up Molly Mall's comment, one of the original New York City rappers, the thing about Sims is he doesn't give a shit about the teams. He doesn't care who they play for. When he makes his talent evaluations and how he rates his players, it has nothing to do with the team situation at all.
Yeah.
It's solely that player's ability as an athlete to perform at the position that they play. That's what's more shocking to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what's more shocking to me. But nevertheless, I mean, me and Chuck should be the first ones to sit here and tell you, does Jalen Hurts is a clear-cut top 40? I can't sit here and say that. We're not down on the kid. We just may not believe in the kid as some others. We've always sat here and said, right when it was fresh off the season, like, we want the kid to be the answer. We want him to be the franchise QB. We want him to prove us wrong, because that makes it so much easier where we can get back to being in February partying down Broad Street and having a parade. That's what we want. But with that being said, imagine this team right now, heaven forbid, right? And I'm not trying to beat a dead horse here. Imagine this team with the changes that they made on offense, with the running backs and everything like that, and the health of the offensive line, and Carson Wentz was still your quarterback, and he had Devontae Smith. I'm just saying. I'm just they be the favorites, and they be one of the favorites in the division.
I know. Yeah, I know.
You know. So and that's the point I'm trying to make. It's just one of those things to where it's one thing if I think it's kind of a Philly thing right now with us. It's one thing for us to say Jalen Hurts can't be a top 40 QB, but Chris Sims, you can't say that shit. Like, you can't say that after you said 2 months ago that he was better than Tua, and then you got Tua sitting at 34, and that guy can't even make the cut.
It's the consistency, and if you're going to do that, provide context as to why your mind changed. Like, I want to hear a sound explanation, because if you have some BS explanation, like, that's the thing, like, consistency. And I'm not saying like your opinion on a player can't change. My opinion on players always change. Yep. I go back and I watch film and I'm like, oh, this guy is not as good as I thought, or oh, this guy is better than I thought. So like takes and opinions always change, but like you got to provide that explanation. And I just don't see. I don't know what the explanation is here. Like what has changed? You know what I mean? So it's just very interesting. We'll see how the rest of it plays out. I'm interested to see where he has Tom Brady, because he's always had Tom Brady low the past several years. And interested to see where he's going to have him this year.
He'll be top 5.
He's probably going to have. I guarantee you, Josh Allen is 2 or 1.
Probably.
Guarantee you, Josh Allen is 2 or 1.
He may go Mahomes, Rodgers, Wilson, Brady, Allen, or Allen, Brady. Well, it wouldn't shock me if he has Allen in front of Brady and Wilson. It would not shock me at all.
He's going to. Allen is like, after Mahomes, Allen is like his baby. He's been like pushing Allen for a long time. I think Allen's going to be number 2 on his list. I really do think so. I think he's going to have him over Rodgers. So coming up, we're on 103.
Yep.
You want to end it? You want to give your quick thoughts on the Sixers before we head out?
Yeah, man. No huddle, real quick. Game 3 tomorrow night in Atlanta. If anything, I think it's going to be kind of the same thing we saw on Tuesday night. I think that Embiid got shafted for the MVP. He went out. He played with a chip.
Okay, so because they're in our, I don't know if you saw in the ATD chat. They were.
Oh yeah, I was there. I was present.
Yeah. So what is your take on that? Because I'll be the first to admit I can't say too much because I've watched maybe 2 games of Jokic, and so I only know what based on like a few things I've seen. I know he's a beast. I know he's talented, and I know he wasn't hurt like JoJo was. And the numbers were very impressive.
Jokic's numbers are good, but he plays in the West, and I think this kind of leads into your question. The thing is, people forget that Jamal Murray didn't get hurt early in the season. He got hurt towards the end of the season, so the Nuggets were already kind of established. Then Will Barton went down as well. I get it, but your worth is in what you are right now. Am I correct in saying that? So this kid won the MVP. Came back last night. A lot of people take Denver with the points, betting. Take Denver with the points. Take Denver with the points. What happened? Air it the fuck out. Air it out. Embiid gets shafted. I mean, I would say this: MVP. Does Denver still make it to the 3 seed without Jokic? Probably not. Are they that far from it? Probably not. Mm-hmm. Embiid-less Philly Sixers team. They had that. They played 21 games this year without him. They were 10-11. 10-11.
Yep.
So the spots on the ladder that they would fall if Embiid wasn't on the team would have been more severe than if Jokic wasn't on Denver.
Yes.
I get it, but to me, Embiid is the MVP. I get it also at the same time. His availability wasn't there. Hell, I don't want to win MVP. I'd rather go down. I've always wanted to go a parade in the summertime. Always when it's hot out. Because when 2018, it was cold as shit.
Dude, I was there at 3 o'clock in the morning. You gotta remind me. I was there at 3 o'clock in the morning.
It was so cold. So Don brings up a very good point. And this leads you to my game 3 prediction. Ben is going to play with a chip on the shoulder tomorrow. That's what you want. You want them to fuel the fire. And I'm telling you, if they get game 3, chances are they're going to get game 4, and this shit is over in 5.
Yo, ATD's meme that they put out on the post where it's like the Simpsons kid on the bus, and it's Trae Young saying, "I'm in danger."
Yes,
what's going on? Like, oh my god,
he's in danger. And you heard what he said. He says, "If the refs let me play like I'm 6'10", instead of giving Trae these fouls and bailing him out when he's the one initiating the contact, as soon as he loses that, it's a whole different ball game. It's a whole different ball game. Yep. I expect the Sixers win tomorrow. I didn't expect Atlanta to shoot like they did in game 1. And I really don't expect them to shoot like they did in game 1 for the rest of the series. I was shocked that they made it a game, but the reason why they made game 2 a game is because for some reason the Sixers at some point, even like the Bucks did tonight, and I'm watching it on my other monitor. These teams at some point, when you get up 20, you take your foot off the gas.
A lot of it's the bench.
Tuesday night.
Like a lot of it is the bench. Not all the bench. I'm not blaming.
And it wasn't. If it wasn't for the bench on Tuesday, we may be down 2-0. The starters at some point where they just get like the Sixers get 5 or 6 possessions in a row. I don't know what the hell they're doing on offense. They look like a damn JV team. There's no rhythm, bad shot selection, bad passes, turnovers, and it's just wasting possessions. You're wasting possessions. You know, you can't do that. You definitely can't do it on the road. They got away with it at home, and they almost up there coming back in game 1, starting flat and getting a win there. You can't do that on the road. They need a complete game in game 3, sort of what we saw in Washington. If they steal another one in game 4, that's fine. You coming back here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You coming back here, and then they got to beat you 2 out of 3, and two of them shits got to be on your home floor.
Yeah.
You got to win one. You got to win one in Atlanta. And preferably win both.
Absolutely have to. So to backtrack a little bit, like when it comes to MVP, all right. For one, in every sport, I hate that it's only a regular season award. I think MVP should
carry over.
Include postseason. I don't think they should announce that till after the playoffs are done. They should include postseason performance, because if they were going to include it.
Right.
JoJo might be winning. It might be leading the votes now.
73 points in 72 minutes.
It's insane. On a torn meniscus too, the last 2 games.
Yeah.
So that's one. I think MVP award criteria, they won't ever, but they should include playoffs. And 2, the way the criteria is for the regular season, you need to be able to, be available and everything. I get it. And because of that, that's why I kind of knew Jokic was going to be the MVP. Like, JoJo didn't play. He missed a bunch of games, and that's going to hurt his cause. That's just how the MVP award works, not only for basketball, but for other sports as well. And I get it. I understand that. I don't agree with it, but I get it. I think that in my ideal world, that needs to change. I think the MVP, if you're talking about the most valuable player to a winning team, you have JoJo didn't miss enough games where you could be like, he missed half the season. If he missed half the season,
right,
then I could be like, okay, you missed half the season. That's too many games. But he didn't miss half the season. He still played. He played
2/3 of the games.
Yeah, he played enough to still be considered. So if you're a consideration, you need to also look at how your team, like exactly what you said, how your team performed without you in those games. That also determines value. So I think that's never going to change in my MVP criteria, but I think it would. I certainly would. Now when it comes to JoJo and Jokic, again, I haven't watched a ton of Jokic, but have watched him. To me, it's no debate. I think.
Yeah, and that's the other point. If you had a chance to pick either one of them on your team, you're picking Embiid.
You're picking Embiid.
You're picking Embiid.
Yes, like Embiid is carrying. He's doing things right now that I haven't seen a center do.
I haven't seen this. We haven't had a player like this since AI.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's the one move he did in game 2 where he's on the baseline. He shimmied away from the double team, step back, baseline jumper. He
looks like Kobe, but he's 7'2".
Yeah, it's just
that's a two-point move.
Don makes a really good point here where he says between Ben and Rudy, when you are a liability in a pick and roll situation, I think that tells you all you need to know.
Yes,
Rudy Gobert on a pick and roll situation, teams try to get him on it to get for him to come out on the guard because he's a liability at that point. There is a liability to Ben's game. Ben can guard 1 through 5. 1 through 5. He can guard 1 through 5. I don't know how this happens at all. It's one of those things. But once again, I'm happy with it because you know what? Shun us. Don't give a shit. We don't want no trophies right now. We don't want no trophies. We don't want no DPO. We don't want no DPOYs. We don't want no MVPs. Nah, give me the Larry O'Brien trophy in June. I'm good.
Laughing. Yeah, if we get that championship trophy, we'll have the last laugh. And I hate to bring this up because I sound like a Philadelphian, like a homer, but I just at some points I really do think the league hates us. I think writers hate us because of the process. Because that's a big no in basketball. So when it comes to voting like this, remember, guys, these are writers. These are many people. These are writers that are voting. I think that it's such a big no for a lot of them that it skews them, and I don't think that's fair. I think it's very possible. So I don't know. Ben Simmons should have. I had more of an argument. I got more upset. Ben Simmons didn't win Defensive Player of the Year than I did JoJo not winning.
Right, because Ben didn't miss. Ben missed games, but it wasn't to the point of JoJo.
Oh yeah, it wasn't nearly as much.
And he was guarding the top 2 or 3 players on every team every night that he played.
Exactly.
Different size, different height, different speed, different skill set. Ben was there.
It's insane, and I don't know why. Like, I don't know if it's a Pro Bowl type of thing where you have to prove yourself the first year, you don't get that vote, and then the next year, if you're consistent, then you start getting votes. That's dumb to me. I always hated that about the NFL Pro Bowl, and I hate that about voting. But I mean, it's ridiculous. But I do think Ben is going to put the clamps on Trey because of this. I think Ben when he gets angry the next game he plays well. He plays really, really well. And
I saw one comment from Howie P. He says it doesn't matter. We won't get past Brooklyn. I will say this: very good chance you may be right. If they had all three, if it's 2 out of the 3, I will say this: Durant versus Simmons. Obviously, you can't stop Durant, but you think you can contain him. The key is Matisse on Irving, Thibault on Kyrie, and then this is the other thing: Milwaukee has no inside presence whatsoever. Milwaukee's game is to get their big men out of the fucking lane so Giannis can do his thing.
Yeah.
You got arguably top 2-3 player in the league and Embiid abusing. You see, they're not even playing DeAndre Jordan right now. Because there's no need to play DeAndre Jordan against the Bucks. They can get away with playing Nicholas Claxton. DeAndre Jordan's not getting any minutes. They're saving him. If the Sixers make it, now you're going to see DeAndre Jordan. That's who you're going to see. Now, what kills me is if the Sixers do this, it's a very Philly way to do it. It'll be so many ties into what the Eagles did in 17 because not the flashiest, not the most talented, got a very good player. But you look at the other rosters, like I didn't even know that fucking Boogie Cousins is on what team is he on?
Nick
on the Clippers.
Yeah, hold on.
He's on the Clippers. I didn't even know DeMarcus Cousins. Like you look at the Bucks, they got Jeff T. They got former All-Stars. Bitch, with the Sixers, it's Embiid, Simmons, Tobias, and then it's everybody else. That's it. It's everybody else. It's a team. It's a team built and almost obviously they had to tear it down to build it. But the way that they put this team together and this roster together this year is very non-traditional NBA roster building now. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you look at the Nets, it's everything. Like I was telling my boy, I said, when you look at Blake Griffin had teams built around him when he was in LA. Now, yes, he's not that player now, but bitch, when he get that ball, you tell me he can't have that mentality. It's a whole different mentality.
Yeah.
A whole different mentality.
Yep. I have a ton of respect for the Nets, and in terms of like how good they are. Like if you want to start arguing about super teams, how they were built, that's a different conversation. But I'm just looking at how good of a team they are. Like I respect them, and in no way would I come out and say, "Oh, we're definitely beating the Nets in the next round." Like I'm not even going to look ahead yet. You know what I mean? Right. Part of me doesn't want to because we're focused on the Hawks. So part of me doesn't even want to look ahead. But if that is the matchup, which is the matchup I think a lot of us were anticipating all season, a lot of fans all around the league, kind of figured Sixers Nets in the Eastern Conference Finals. I have always said that I think it's going to be very close. The Nets absolutely could beat us. And would I be disappointed? Absolutely. But I think that they're that good of a team. I mean, you're talking about Kyrie, KD, and James Harden. They're elite players. So I get it. And I would never underestimate them. And in no way would I say that it would be a cakewalk for the Sixers. But I also I got into it with some people on Twitter, some Nets fans, who said, "Oh, like if it's Sixers Nets in the Eastern Conference Finals, it's Nets in 5." Like in 5? Are you kidding me?
I mean, the Nets don't play D, man. Like this game right now is 75, 70, 74, 70, 76, 74. Listen, Steve Nash is a player. He's a first-year head coach. Yes, he has D'Antoni on his staff. Think we have the edge in the coaching staff there. I'm not saying they're going to win, but to be in 5, I just don't. I don't see it. I don't see it. You seen Kyrie bitch up at a certain point, you know what I mean, and turn it in. KD won't do that, but it takes more than just that, you know what I mean. And listen, let's not sit here and forget. Right now, they're in a dogfight in Game 3. If Milwaukee gets this game and finds a way to get Game 4, that series can go longer. And the longer that series goes and the quicker we get rid of the Atlanta Hawks, who I've always said basketball is the hardest sport to win when you're young. You got to go through your bumps and your bruises. You got to. It takes a veteran team to learn how to win. And that's what you do in the NBA. It's going to be hard. In Atlanta right now, I kind of agree with Don. I can see why Atlanta through this point, through this season, a lot of players and a lot of fans have started to respect the Hawks because they went through the grind. They fired their head coach. They brought Nate McMillan in, and then they started playing better defense. Yep. But at the same time, listen, Trey, I don't know what – I know you mixed, brother. I know you mixed. I don't know what you mixed with. But, bitch, that hair, I don't know. When that hair get wet and that hair gets some heat and some sweat to it, I don't know what that shit is. That shit look like Whisper in the Wind, bitch. It look like Jeff Hardy jumping from the top rope, bitch. I don't know what that shit is at all, bro. I don't know what texture it got. It looked like Red from the 5 Heartbeats when he was out there singing, when he's trying to push dude out the window, bitch. Talking about my office hours is from 9 to 5. Like I've never seen anything like it, bro.
It's
never
crazy,
seen anything like it.
I don't know what that is either. I don't know. I have no answers. If I was a barber, I don't even know how to approach that. Don knows your comment.
Yeah, I don't know what it just. I don't have no body, no value, no nothing. I don't know what it got, but we'll see. Game 3 tomorrow night, 7:30 in Atlanta.
Should be fun, and I respect the Hawks too. I like them. Aside from the fact that they're annoying because we're playing them right now, I respect them. Like I hate Trae Young right now, But man, that previous series against the Knicks, I loved him because I loved his.
It was the worst matchup for the Knicks too.
Yeah,
that was the Knicks overachieved this year.
Yes,
but they just ran and they would have played so much better against. They probably would have played better even against the Bucks. Maybe even against the Nets. They just built different. The Hawks
the Hawks outside shooting, man.
And that's it. They had no answer for Trey. They had no answer for Trey.
Yeah. No. Any last comments before we head out of here?
Nah, man. I'm good. I'm happy we're back. I'm happy we're here.
Yep.
And we'll see you guys next Thursday.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Again, next week we will start doing our positional rankings, which I always have fun. I always have so much fun doing because we a lot of room for debate, and I'm sure we're gonna have a lot of debate between me, Pete over here, and Jeff when he comes back next week. We're gonna do QBs. I know Don was asking that, so we're gonna start off with QBs. So that's gonna be first, and then we're probably gonna get into running back, then wide receiver, and at some point this summer we are going to have our debate. Westbrook versus McCoy, round 2. For me, I know it's for you, it's the first time, but for me, it's round 2. I debated Tom on this topic, and ever since then, I will say I have some more talking points to cover, so I'm even more well equipped this time around. But we will have that debate with Jeff on here. Jeff will be kind of like the mediator, and he could be the manufacturer or whatever. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun summer. We also got some other topics to fill you guys. I'll fill some shows for the next month or two until we hit training camp in August. But until then, guys, keep tuning in to us and to A2D. Remember, we got shows every single day. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow the whole 9. Follow all of us. Our sponsors, Paul Vidal of Specialized Physical Therapy LLC. Make sure you find them at specializedphysicaltherapy.com, and the Counseling Center at Sunrise Detox, 856-651-8117. And I forgot to mention this sponsor earlier too, these two, our poll question sponsor, Body Check Wellness. Make sure you use the promo code A2D for 20% off. And also, we've got another promo going on. It's not too late to get that present for Father's Day.
Yep.
If you want a nice present, get Manscaped. Manscaped, 20% off. Use the promo code A2D. They don't only have trimmer there. They've got ball deodorant. They got boxers. They got the whole.
Your balls will thank you.
Yeah, your ball, as Trey Thomas says, your balls will thank you. So use promo code A2D to get 20% off. Definitely look into that, guys. For myself, Chucks, for Pete, my boy, for Jeff, we will be back next week. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next Thursday. Peace out. 10-9-8.